Listen up, because I'm only going to say this once. You're standing at a crossroads right now, and what you do next will define everything that follows. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The truth is, life doesn't wait for you to get your act together. While you're sitting there making excuses, somebody else is out there taking what could have been yours. You want to know what separates the winners from the losers? Winners don't wait for permission to fix their lives. They don't need a wake-up call or a sign from the universe. They look in the mirror, face whatever mess they've created, and they handle it. That's what we're going to talk about, handling it. Let me tell you something about success that nobody wants to admit. It's lonely at the top because most people don't have the guts to climb. They're too busy being comfortable with their mediocrity, too afraid to admit they're the ones holding themselves back. But you know what's worse than being afraid? Letting that fear turn you into someone who settles for less than what they're worth. The first rule of fixing yourself is brutal honesty. Not the kind you tell yourself when you're justifying another failure, but the raw, uncomfortable truth that keeps you up at night. Look at your life right now. Really look at it. Those problems you're facing? They didn't just happen to you. You either created them, allowed them, or failed to prevent them. And that's actually good news because it means you have the power to fix them. Every morning when you wake up, you're making a choice. You're either choosing to be better than you were yesterday, or you're choosing to stay exactly where you are. There's no middle ground, no maintaining the status quo. You're either growing or you're dying. And if you're not actively working on becoming better, guess which category you fall into. Let's talk about something that most people don't want to hear. Your comfort zone is killing you. Every day you spend there is another day you're falling behind. The world is moving forward at an unprecedented pace, and if you're not pushing yourself to keep up, you're already losing ground. That comfortable routine you've built? It's nothing but a carefully constructed prison of mediocrity. Here's a hard truth about excellence. It's not a skill, it's a habit. And habits are built through consistent, deliberate action. You can't outsource this part. You can't hire someone to build your character or develop your discipline. These things come from doing what needs to be done, day after day, especially when you don't feel like it. You think successful people don't face the same doubts you do? The same fears? The same uncertainties? They do. The difference is they've learned to act despite these feelings, not because of them. They understand that waiting to feel ready is a one-way ticket to nowhere. Let's talk about your environment because it's shaping you whether you realize it or not. Look around. Who are you spending your time with? What conversations are you having? What information are you consuming? If your environment isn't pushing you to be better, it's enabling you to stay the same. And staying the same is just a slow way of going backward. You need to understand something fundamental about change. It's not an event, it's a process. You don't wake up one day completely transformed. You build that transformation one decision at a time, one habit at a time, one day at a time. The question is, are you willing to trust the process even when you can't see immediate results? Here's another truth that might sting. Your potential means nothing without execution. The world is full of potential. Potential is cheap. What's rare is the willingness to do the work required to turn that potential into reality. You've got to be willing to put in the hours when no one's watching, to keep pushing when there's no immediate payoff, to stay committed when it would be easier to quit. Let's address the elephant in the room, failure. You're going to fail. Multiple times. In public. Embarrassingly. But here's what separates the winners from the rest. They understand that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of success. Every failure is a lesson if you have the courage to learn from it instead of letting it define you. Your mindset isn't just some psychological concept, it's the foundation of everything you'll achieve or fail to achieve. When you face a challenge, do you see an obstacle or an opportunity? When you encounter resistance, do you back down or level up? These aren't just questions, they're decisions that shape your reality. Time management isn't about managing time, it's about managing yourself. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The difference is how you choose to invest them. Are you investing in your growth, or are you just spending time? Are you building something meaningful, or are you just staying busy? Because being busy and being productive are two entirely different things. Let's talk about your standards, and I mean really talk about them. What are you willing to accept from yourself? What kind of work are you putting out into the world? What kind of effort are you bringing to your relationships? Your standards aren't what you say they are, they're what you actually accept from yourself on a daily basis. The quality of your life is directly proportional to the number of uncomfortable conversations you're willing to have with others and, more importantly, with yourself. Are you willing to confront your own BS? Are you willing to acknowledge where you're falling short? Because if you can't be honest with yourself, you're building your future on a foundation of lies. Your habits aren't just what you do, they're who you're becoming. Every time you hit the snooze button instead of getting up to work out, every time you choose the easy way instead of the right way, every time you break a promise to yourself, you're not just affecting that moment, you're shaping your character. Leadership isn't about having a title or managing others, it starts with leading yourself. Can you make tough decisions when they need to be made? Can you hold yourself accountable without someone looking over your shoulder? Can you push yourself to maintain high standards even when no one would know the difference? Let's talk about your network, because it's either lifting you up or pulling you down. The people you surround yourself with are either inspiring you to be better or enabling you to stay the same. And if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Growth happens when you're surrounded by people who challenge your thinking and push your boundaries. Your reputation isn't what you say about yourself, it's what you do consistently. It's built through 1,000 small decisions, 1,000 moments where you either choose excellence or accept mediocrity. And once built, it's harder to change than you might think. Are you building the reputation you want to have? Mental toughness isn't about being hard, it's about being resilient. It's about getting knocked down 7 times and getting up 8. It's about facing your fears instead of running from them. It's about doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel about it. Are you building your mental toughness, or are you letting it atrophy? Your word needs to mean something, especially to yourself. Every time you break a commitment you've made to yourself, you're teaching yourself that your word doesn't matter. Every time you say you're going to do something and don't follow through, you're undermining your own self-trust. How can you expect others to trust you if you can't trust yourself? Success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about who you become in the process. Are you becoming someone you're proud to be? Are you developing the character traits that will sustain your success, or are you just chasing achievements without building the foundation to support them? The world doesn't need another person who's all talk and no action. It doesn't need another dreamer who's not willing to do the work. What it needs is people who are willing to step up, face their fears, and do what needs to be done. Is that going to be you, or are you going to keep waiting for the perfect moment that never comes? Your future self is watching you right now, watching every decision you make, every action you take or fail to take. And that future self is either going to thank you for the foundation you built or curse you for the opportunities you wasted. Which one it will be is being decided right now, in this moment, by the choices you're making. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. It's the freedom to achieve your goals instead of just dreaming about them. It's the freedom to respect yourself instead of making excuses. It's the freedom to build the life you want instead of accepting the life you have. But that freedom comes at a price, and that price is paid in advance through consistent, dedicated effort. Your problems aren't going to solve themselves while you're busy making excuses. Your dreams aren't going to achieve themselves while you're waiting for the perfect moment. Your life isn't going to improve itself while you're hoping things will somehow get better. The time for action is now. Every excuse you make is a brick in the wall between you and your potential. Every delay, every "I'll start tomorrow," every "I'm not ready yet," they're all just ways of avoiding the responsibility of becoming who you could be. And that wall gets higher every day you let your excuses win. The quality of your thinking determines the quality of your life. Are you thinking about problems, or are you thinking about solutions? Are you focused on what could go wrong, or are you planning how to make things go right? Your mind is either working for you or against you. There's no neutral ground. Success leaves clues. The patterns are there if you're willing to look for them. Successful people aren't successful by accident. They've developed specific habits, specific ways of thinking, specific standards that they refuse to compromise. Are you studying these patterns, or are you hoping to stumble into success by chance? Your energy is a finite resource, and how you invest it matters. Are you investing it in activities that move you forward, or are you wasting it on things that keep you stuck? Are you using it to build something meaningful, or are you letting it drain away on distractions and drama? The time for half measures is over. The time for someday is over. The time for waiting is over. Either you're all in, committed to becoming the best version of yourself, or you're settling for less than what you could be. There's no middle ground, no comfortable compromise. Remember this, the person you become is the person you choose to be. Not the person you wish you were, not the person you're planning to be someday, the person you choose to be through your actions right now. So make your choice. Because time is running out, and the only person who can fix your life is staring back at you in the mirror. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Don't tell anyone. Just do it. Because in the end, your actions will speak so loudly that I won't be able to hear what you're saying anyway. Fix yourself now, before circumstances force you to fix yourself later. Because later might be too late, and some opportunities don't come around twice. The choice is yours. It always has been. What's it going to be?